Hello class, today we are going to talk about mode. Mode is the number that appears most often. So let's get started. So write this definition in your blue spiral. Mode is the number or numbers that occur most often in a data set. A data set is just a group of numbers. Also note that there can be more than one mode. So another way to think about mode is most popular or most common. It's the number that occurs the most. So finding the mode. Here we have an example of a week's worth of temperatures. So on Monday, the temperature was 86 degrees. Tuesday was 92. Look at all the numbers and see if you can find the mode. Which number appears most often? If you notice, the number that appears twice is 86 on Monday and 30 on Thursday. So the mode is 86 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's all there is to it. You just find the number that appears most often. But it's important to note that sometimes there's not a mode. So in example 1, you see all the numbers are only repeated once. Therefore, there's no mode. So there does not have to be a mode. But in example 2, you see 3 is repeated. So 3 is the mode. But sometimes there's not a mode. When a number is repeated, then there is a mode, but there does not have to be. You'll see some examples when there's no mode. And then sometimes there is more than one mode. Here we have an example of heights. And in this example, you see 150 centimeters repeated twice and 180 centimeters repeated twice. So both 150 centimeters and 180 centimeters are the modes. So you can have one mode, you can have no mode, and you can have more than one mode. You can have 2 or 3 modes. It's just the number that's repeated the most. Since 150 and 180 are both repeated 2 times, that's the mode. If you had another number that was repeated 3 times, then only the one that was repeated 3 times would be the mode because it was repeated the most. So let's find the mode from a line plot. You guys remember line plot? Often you will see data displayed on a line plot and then asked to find the mean, median, and mode. But today let's just start by finding the mode. Can you find it? What is the number that occurs most often? If you said 7, you are correct. The number 7 occurs 3 times, therefore 7 is the mode. You can see the number 4 has 2 x's, therefore number 4 appeared 2 times. Number 5 only has 1 x, so it appeared 1 time. 6 has 2 x's, so there are 2 6's. And 7 appears 3 times. 9 appears 2 times, and 10 appears 2 times. So 7 repeats more often than the rest, therefore the number 7 is the mode. Make sure you don't put that the mode is how many x's there are. The x's represent the number 7, so the mode is the number 7. So let's just do a quick review on line plots. A line plot shows data on a number line with an x to show how many times the number comes up. So notice that you don't want to count each x as the number 1. Each x represents the number it's above. So if there's 3 x's above the 2, then there are 3 number 2's. And something I do if you're having some trouble kind of interpreting all the numbers is you want to list out or write out all of the numbers. And I'll show you an example of doing that. So you can see the line plot above, and what I've done below and color-coded is listed out all the numbers represented in the line plot. There are 3 number 2's, there's 1 number 3, there are no 4's, there are 4 number 5's, 1 number 6, 2 number 7's, and 5 number 8's. Okay, those are what the x's represent. You put the x's above 8 to show that there are 5 number 8's. Okay. So do you see why the line plot is useful? It's useful because just like we learned with tables and graphs, when you're dealing with numbers, sometimes it's easier to put them on a plot or on a graph and to compare them. You can just visually look and see which number occurs most often. Well, the tower is tallest above the number 8, so the number 8 is the mode. So line plots are useful to compare. So let's do some more practice. Here you have a line plot showing hours spent watching TV. Can you find the mode? It is the number that occurs most often. If you said that the mode is 5 hours, you are correct. 5 occurs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So 5 hours is the mode right here. Okay, let's do a review of mean and median, the two terms we've already learned. So mean, or another word to say that is average, you add all the numbers together and then you divide by how many numbers you have or how many items you have. Median, you want to list them in order from least to greatest and find the middle number. If there are two middle numbers, you add them together and find the average. So why do we learn mean, median, and mode? Why do we need all three? We have all three because they all three are ways of interpreting sets of data. Interpreting data is important because it helps you have critical thinking skills, and you'll see these terms used in textbooks, graphs, and tables, and so you want a way to understand all of it, okay? Another way of saying that is that mean, median, and mode each tell us something a little different about a group of numbers. So think about it this way. If you have an object, oftentimes if someone asks you to describe the object, you might say the color, the size, and the shape. Each description, color, size, shape, helps you describe that object. So in the same way, mean, median, and mode are three ways to help you describe and understand a set of data or a group of numbers. So let's look at an example to help us understand kind of why you'd use mean, median, and mode. So this line plot shows the number of hours that students on a basketball team practice. And we're going to find the mean, median, and mode for this data set. So to find the mean, we want to add all the numbers together and divide by how many students or basketball players there are. So because there are 4 players who practiced 2 hours, we have 4 number 2. And since you have 1 basketball player who practiced 3 hours, you have 1 3. You have 3 basketball players who practiced 4 hours, and then you have 1 basketball player who practiced 13 hours. Wow. So you want to add up all those times together, 8 plus 3 plus 12 plus 13, and you should get 36. Now how you find how many players there are is you can just count up the X's. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have 9 basketball players. So you want to do 36 divided by 9, and you'll find the average, which is 4. So your average for the average hours practice is 4. Okay, now let's find the median. So median, what you want to do is you want to list out all the numbers in order from least to greatest. So let's do that. And now for median, you want to work your way inwards to the middle number. So let's cross out the first and the last, second and second to last, third and third to last, fourth and fourth to last, and you find number 3 is in the middle. So your median number is 3. Now for mode, probably the simplest to find. Mode is the number that occurs most often. The number 2 occurs 4 times, so the mode is the number 2. Okay, so let's talk about why we would need to find all 3. So look at mean and median. Mean and median both are numbers that represent the middle. You often hear average used a lot, and it's probably the most common way to find the middle number. And the difference between mean and median is the way you find the middle number. For average, you add them all together and divide by the number of items you have. For median, you just put them in order and count inwards. So notice that we got the average was 4. Now, is 4 really represent the middle number? Notice that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players who practiced less than 4 hours, and only one basketball player who practiced more than 4 hours. So does 4 hours really represent the middle? Now let's look at median. The median is 3 here. There are 4 basketball players who practiced less than 3 hours, and there are 4 basketball players who practiced more than 3 hours. So I would say median here is a better example of the middle number. Now the mode describes how many hours was the most common or the most popular number of hours practiced. You can see that most basketball players practice 2 hours. So just another way of explaining the amount of hours practiced by everyone. So let's sum it all up. So average is a good way for finding the center number. So when there is an outlier, which on the line plot before, 13 was the outlier because it was a number that was far away from the rest of the numbers. It lies outside of the other numbers. So when you have an outlier, the median is actually a better indicator of which number is in the middle. And then lastly, you have the mode, and that shows you the most common number or the most popular choice. So again, think about size, shape, and color. Average, median, and mode are just 3 great ways to interpret and understand a data set. Keep up the good work, and now go practice on Jupyter.